All right, so this is our general college and career planning information, and we're gonna start with Mr. DeSala sharing some information.
All right, so we want to start off talking about your options after high school. We're going to give you a short overview of each of these options you see on the side. You have four-year colleges, you have community colleges, there's trade and vocational schools and career ed programs as well. We have apprenticeships, ROP, and we have work and military as well. We'll go over each of those. That's it. So as you can see here, you have multiple paths to going to college and going to a career. You'll start obviously, you're at Cache Valley High School. You have multiple paths. You can go community college. You can go on to 4-year, or you can go straight to 4-year. Maybe you want to do some work, have an internship first, and then move on to 4-year. You can see at the top is another path going to ROP. You can do career education, or you can do an apprenticeship and then go to community 4-year. This diagram is there to demonstrate to you that there's multiple paths to take on your way to college and career. And so we want to start off with apprenticeships, which will be talked about in our breakout session 3 with Mr. Abraham Mendoza from Eden Area ROP. Apprenticeships are essentially, the gold standard for earning and learning as a worker and a career seeker. Maybe you want to get started on your career right out the gate. You want to go and get detailed instruction from somebody who's working in the job or field that you want to essentially enter. A lot of times you'll get a paying job with training on site. You'll get instruction in a classroom for that type of work, and you also, in some cases, get college credit as well. And in many cases, you'll also have a certificate that's recognized by that industry that you want to do an apprenticeship for. Sometimes programs, they vary in terms of what their requirements are. Some of them require a high school diploma. Some of them require maybe a little bit higher than a high school diploma, maybe a few extra units or classes above that. But then some of them have lower educational requirements. Maybe there's no educational requirement at all. Maybe there are some apprenticeships that are available as well to students who are still in high school that you can attend at the same time. So yeah. And we have as well career education programs, and that's going to be talked about in breakout session 2 with speakers from Chabot College and Diablo Valley College. These are programs that can also help you get certificates or degrees in a skilled trade. For example, some career education programs located in the area are Cache Valley Adult and Career Education, which is just up the street on Redwood. Community colleges also offer career ed programs. Eden Area ROP is also another program that we work with at CVHS that allows students to get education in specific career fields, like auto, for example, is one at our school. Med careers is a big one. And there are also vocational schools that you can go to, schools specifically that teach one type of trade or one type of career. So you have a lot of options when you're talking about career education programs. All right, so California community colleges. This is the first tier of colleges that we're going to be talking about, and we'll be talking about that in breakout sessions 1 and 3. In California alone, there are 150 community college campuses, and in most cases, they offer associate's degrees and certificates. In California, the CSU and UC systems have worked with the community colleges to develop transfer programs, meaning that you can take a specific course plan or plan out a specific course load that you want to take on for the first 2 years of community college on your way to associates, and then those degrees will help you transfer to a CSU or UC. You can speak with a counselor at the community college campus that will help you plan out your transfer plan. Say you want to eventually transfer to a UC or CSU. They have different programs for each of those types of colleges that will help you do that. In general, community colleges, the requirements are you have to have one of two things. You have to have either a high school diploma, GED, or an equivalent, that's one, or you can be over 18 years old. So you can be above 18 and not have a diploma, and you can still go to community college. Or if you're below 18 and you have a high school diploma, you can attend community college. Steps to enroll, there's an online application. In California, all the colleges use the same general application system. So the process is very simplified. You'll have to do an online orientation for the college that you plan to attend. Some of the online orientations per school are a little bit different, so it varies per campus, but you'll have to do one in almost all cases. And there's also a self-guided math, English, and English placement, not really an exam, but like a system that allows them to determine which math and English is appropriate for you when you're entering community college. All right, next step is CSUs, like California State Universities. So we'll be talking about that in sessions 1 and 2. There are 23 campuses. A lot of them some of them can be pretty small and some of them can be very large, and they range, in location throughout the state, all the way up north in Humboldt and all the way down south at San Diego State. The way that CSUs admit is they use like a ranking system called A through G courses. And many of the courses that we offer at Cal Valley High are already meeting those A through G requirements. And I actually have a link that I want to share in chat, because this is basically a list that shows you all of the A through G courses at our high school and which ones you might be in some of them already, or your student might be in some already that count for A through G courses. You're going to need a C or minus or better. That's what they look for in terms of how they determine eligibility for CSUs. For the class of 2022, they're not going to be requiring SAT or ACT scores. The verdict isn't in yet if they're going to require that for the class of 2023. We should be getting a decision on that soon, so we'll keep you posted. The GPA requirement minimum for CSUs is 2.5. However, some campuses that are impacted, meaning they're getting more applicants than they could admit, those requirements might be raised, and they could also be raised in terms of just like one major at a school, in which case they'll use like supplemental factors, like maybe you do more or less extracurriculars, maybe you have special circumstances that might warrant admission even if a program is impacted. In general, if you're a student who has a GPA between 2.0 and 2.49, they'll also look at supplemental factors when determining admission to campuses. Like you can get a higher chance of admission if you're in like a local campus, like for example, Cal State East Bay is one of our local campuses, so the requirements are a little bit different. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So finally, well, not finally, but next, UCs, we have Universities of California. There are 9 campuses. There are technically 10. UCSF is a graduate school, but for undergraduates, there are 9 campuses. And again, they use the A through G system, C minus or better. For the SAT and ACT, they are not using those for admissions anymore, even for fall of 2023. So they're not going to ask for SAT or ACT as a required part of the admissions. The minimum GPA is a little bit higher. It's 3.0 instead of 2.5. And the system that they use is called holistic review, meaning that they don't just look at your GPA or your grades or just your extracurriculars. They look at the whole, profile of a student holistically altogether. So maybe your grades are not amazing, but you have tons of extracurricular stuff, or maybe you have tons of leadership experience, or maybe you have a really good personal story. That's how the UCs kind of judge your application. And they also require personal insight questions, which are not exactly essays, but they're written responses. Think of them like interview questions that you're writing down and responding to. A little bit less formal than an essay, but you want to do make sure you're putting a lot of effort in the personal insight questions, because that gives them a better understanding of who you are, not just as a student, but as a person. They want to get you to know you personally at the UC level. Right. All right, private colleges and universities. The admission requirements and acceptance can vary. There are some schools, like small liberal arts colleges, that they accept a very small amount of students. There are some large campuses that can be more or less competitive depending on where they are. Some of the local ones around here are Stanford, St. Mary's. Those are 2 close local examples of private colleges. A lot of times private schools can cost more, but they also have more flexibility in terms of giving out financial aid. They have more specific scholarships that they can offer. A lot of times they'll be able to give more personalized loans because there's less tied to the federal loan system. But they'll also require you to write a little bit more. In terms of like UC PIQs, there's 4, and they're like short essays, like short answer questions. But for private colleges, most of them require a full essay, like 650 words is the average. And they also require, they'll also look at your extracurriculars, also look at leadership. Some of them also want letters of recommendation that can vary between campus. And most of them are SAT and ACT optional, but some of them might still require them. You have to do individual research on the campuses that you're interested in, because there's no like standard for private colleges in terms of whether they need to test it. And in terms of applying to the schools, you'll be using primarily one of two application systems, the Common App or the Coalition app. They're pretty similar. Most schools tend to use either those two, but some schools might have their own application. So on an individual basis, that's something else to watch out for. And we have historically Black colleges and university that I'll be talking about in the second breakout session. Some of them are private schools, and then some of them are also public schools, meaning that they're part of their state school system. Like with private colleges, the admission requirements and acceptance can vary. Most of them are located in the South and East United States, and they also use the Common App system, and they also use the Common Black application system and College App. Common Black Apple College App, that will be the one that they use. There's an upcoming Black College Expo in Oakland that happens each February, and they offer on-the-spot admissions for some schools. So if you're interested, definitely check that out. All right, so here's some steps that you're going to want to take. We'll go from 9th grade all the way to, let's see, go 9th grade all the way up to 11th grade in terms of what you want to do for preparing for post-secondary. So you want to start by taking college prep courses, which you already, many of you already are. Many of the classes for freshmen are already on the A through G requirements. So you'll be doing those whether or not you know it or not. You'll want to start an academic planner. California colleges has an academic planning system. Think about what courses you want to take in terms of what you might want to study, further down the line. If you need help academically, we have tutoring options here. You can spend Trojan time going to a teacher, get tutoring help, or you could use paper. That's a new system we have for if you need essay help. That's a really big one. Make sure you're taking elective courses that are going to be representative of the type of interests you have. You want to be honest about what you want to do in the future, and you want to get started early on what you want to do. So don't be afraid of taking selective courses. You might want to start a profile at raise.me or a number of any other scholarship sites, because there are scholarships that can be offered if you have information from the beginning when you're in high school, and then you go onward. The further you go in your academic career, they have more information about you, and they can offer you more detailed results for scholarships. You might want to think about joining clubs or extracurriculars, not just to meet new friends, but also get you involved with the school. And also looks good on college applications to show that you're part of the community and you're doing something that isn't just required of you in your academic life, but also outside of school. Show that you're taking an active interest in your community. You want to start talking to your high school counselor. Many of our counselors are on the call right now. I would imagine some of them are your counselors, so you want to talk to your counselor as much as you can. They know about you, they know your who you are as a student. And when it comes time to write letters of recommendation, you might be asking some of them for letters, so they'd be a good person to get in touch with early. And then last but not least, if you are on the A through G requirements for UCs and CSUs, you saw that there was a C-. So maybe some of your grades are a little bit lower. You want to go to summer school and try and make up those classes if they're below that range, so that you can meet the threshold for college admission. All right, 10th grade. So you just want to continue taking required courses, A through G courses that you'll already be on with. You can refer to that list if you want to know specifically. Keep taking part in extracurriculars, doing community service, clubs, sports, etc. You want to make sure you're keeping in touch with your counselor. Make sure that they know what your plan is. Make sure that they can help you stay on the track for what you plan to do after school, or maybe help you get an idea of what you want to do. ROP courses are something you can also start. Many students start doing ROP in 11th and 12th grade. In the case of ROP, you can also go off campus to do classes specifically to help you with a certain career skill or trade. So that's something you might want to think about. The PSAT is something you'll be taking in October that'll help you, prepare for the SAT, if that's the case that a school might want an SAT result from you. Many 10th graders have been taking the career inventory from California colleges and California Career Zone. We've been coming into a lot of classes doing this activity with students to help them get a better idea of what careers they might want further down the line and what careers fit their specific skills. Make sure to visit the College and Career Center. We're always there. We're happy to help students who come in. Any questions that you have, we'll be happy to answer them. And if we don't know them on the spot, we want to get the answers to you as soon as possible, so we can help you plan. Make sure you're attending college and career fairs. We have a list of college and career fairs on our website that you can check out. There's some coming up soon. For private colleges specifically, there's a coalition college fair that's going to be happening soon. that might be something interesting to attend if you're interested in private colleges. You might want to start visiting college campuses. Cal City is one local one that you could drive up to right now. It takes like 10 minutes to get there. Berkeley as well. That's another college if you're thinking about it. You can go check out the campus. Just see what's up. It's always a good idea to get a good feel for the campus before you're planning attending. And of course, you want to discuss and research financial aid with your family. Finances is one of the biggest challenges many families face when thinking about college. So you want to get started thinking about that as early as possible. You might not think that there's money out there to be given to you, but there definitely is. You just have to look for it. And even if you think, oh, I don't qualify for some scholarships or I don't qualify for some grants, there are some out there. You just have to find them, and we'll be able to help you if you want. Any questions that you have about looking for scholarships, we're here to help assist you. All right. Lastly, for 11th grade, you want to keep keeping in contact with your counselor, making sure that the classes you've taken thus far and the classes you plan on taking later in 11th grade and maybe in senior year are not just keeping you up to date for graduation, but making sure that they look good on college and university admissions, because in most cases, colleges are looking at junior year and senior year are the primary years that they use to judge your college application and the main things that are going to be relevant to what you might go on to study in college. So make sure you're taking the courses that apply for those. Make sure you're speaking with a counselor so that if you're not doing that, they can get you back on track. In October, you'll take the PSAT if you didn't already, or the NMSQT, to qualify for National Merit Scholarship. Those are scholarships that can be given out to students on a national basis. They give out thousands of them each year. If you haven't, or if you need to, you can register for the ACT and ACT. Most of the juniors take them in spring, and if they haven't taken them in spring, they'll take them again in fall. As we said, many schools aren't requiring them, but if you do want to attend a certain school and you know, like through their website, that they're going to be requiring SAT or ACT, you definitely want to think about doing that. And again, continue with your extracurriculars, ensuring continuity between extracurriculars, especially if you started like later in 9th or 10th grade and you continue all the way to senior year. It looks really good for college applications. And again, make sure you're taking summer school if your grades are dipping a little bit. So want to get those up so they're good for applications. And this is when you're going to want to start doing a lot of research into colleges and universities. We've had our Road to College presentations for the past few weeks that have been very successful in helping students get a good overview of what to look for in colleges and maybe what type of majors they offer, generally how to navigate the college search experience. And again, you want to continue attending college and career fairs, looking at your career options, go on California colleges or Career Zone to find that out. You also want to start your senior brag sheet. It's kind of a sheet that is like your resume for colleges. You can show it not just, it compiles all of the stuff that you've done throughout high school. If you need a letter of recommendation, you want to show your brag sheet to the person you're asking a rec for so they can get a good idea of who you are as a student. If you don't have time to tell them, or they don't know you personally as well as you'd like them to. So that's always a good option to think about.
Thank you, Mr. DeSala. I'm going to go through the next slides rather quickly because we're running short on time, but this is being recorded and we will share the slides and the recording, so it will be available. So we mentioned PSAT, SAT, ACT, but currently there's a trend of going towards not using these tests. So the UCs and CSUs are what's called test blind. They're not looking at test scores. As Mr. DeSala mentioned, the CSUs haven't made their official announcement. We expect it next week. But a lot of private and out-of-state schools are test optional, where you can submit your scores if they will help your application, but we don't recommend going to extreme lengths to take the test. It's been very difficult for students to find test locations here in nearby our school. The tests are different, so we recommend students try them and see which one is best for them. They're similar, but there are some differences there. There are fee waivers available for students who can't afford to pay the fee for the SAT or ACT. They do need to come see me in the College and Career Center. There are some requirements based on household income, so they can come talk to me about that. So applying to college, students will need, for those students who are going to be seniors next year, they'll want to have a copy of their transcript, a list of their extracurricular activities. That's where filling out that brag sheet ahead of time comes in handy, that Mr. DeSala was talking about, any honors or awards, and they'll work on those PIQs and personal statements that we mentioned as well. So we kind of mentioned there's these different applications. There are some different timelines. We will have a presentation at the beginning of senior year that goes over in detail everything that the seniors need to know with regard to the dates and the applications. And we provide lots of help. There are also fee waivers for college applications. The UC and CSU fee waiver is built into the application itself. For private and out-of-state colleges, they can request it through the Common App. There's also something called a NACAC fee waiver that we have linked here. And then also some partner schools will accept the College Board fee waiver. So financial aid, Mr. DeSala mentioned, the cost that will help share information that students might want to start looking at scholarships. So when schools talk about their cost of attendance, they may just talk about their tuition, but they may talk about their total cost of attendance, which is going to include the housing, which may be room and board for on campus, and they're going to estimate books and supplies, personal expenses. So they're going to give you that full price, and that's the sticker price, what they publish. But what you want to pay attention to is any grants or scholarships, which is free money that your student gets. Subtract that from the sticker price, and that's that net price that you want to focus on when you're comparing which school is the most affordable. And there is a net price calculator for every single college that you can use to get an estimate for what that net price would be for you and or your student. So types of financial aid, grants and scholarships, those are free money, and then work study and loans are other options. There will be a financial aid presentation during breakout session 2, I believe. So I'm not going into detail because she will be doing that. But just some things to think about: start saving for college, putting some money away in a savings account, just learning about what the options are out there, look at scholarship options. And 12th grade is really the most important when you're filling out those financial aid applications. And so there's the FAFSA and the California Dream application. Again, you can attend the financial aid workshop, and we will post that recording with more details. We do post lots of scholarships in our College and Career Center binder in the center and on our website. There are local scholarships that are coordinated and managed by the Castro Valley Education Foundation that are due in February each year. So lots of opportunities, and so students should definitely be visiting the College and Career Center to get the information. So in our last couple minutes here before we send you off to other sessions, we have tips and resources. So we want students to challenge themselves with the college prep courses, taking honors or AP if they're able to handle those. They can take early college credit classes through community college. If a student is planning to play sports in college, they should register with NCAA or NAIA. And we do have a pre-recorded video from Coach Molzen with more information on that. They should keep a list of their extracurricular activities and start the brag sheet. Work on personal statement and personal insight questions for those juniors. Start working on those and prepping in Google Docs. And think about who you might want to ask for a letter of recommendation when the time comes at the beginning of senior year. You're going to use a separate email from your personal and school accounts. You should have an email, students, that is just for work, college, and scholarships, a professional email. You don't want to be getting lots of spam mail to it. You don't want to get your college emails lost in all your other emails. And you can use that Google email to have a Google Drive where you store everything related to your college applications, including a tracking sheet to keep track of your accounts and usernames. And on that tracking sheet, you can start listing colleges you're interested in and scholarships you might want to apply to. We have lots of resources. Again, this will be available to you. I will share the link. So you'll be able to get all of these links and check them out. And you met Esmeralda earlier, one of our college mentors from CSU East Bay, who have virtual hours as well as help in the College and Career Center. So just a couple of things to mention. There are college fairs. There's also a coalition college fair that I missed putting on here, but there's a virtual college fair. NACEC is a national admissions counseling organization. And that's virtual. And then WACAC, the Western Admissions Counseling Organization, is actually in person this year at the Santa Clara Convention Center. They do have some COVID restrictions about maybe vaccination status or tests, so you'll need to check that website for the info. But highly recommend going and learning about different schools. There's different programs and opportunities for students to get involved in. There's different internships, jobs, summer programs. We have all this on our website, as well as in the College and Career Center, binders, posters, flyers. So, you know, students just need to get on our website or just come by the center and we'll show it all to them. Early college credit is another way for students to, you know, try to get ahead, earn some college credits now. And they can do that by taking a class at any community college where the tuition is waived, but the students and families are responsible for some small fees and books and supplies. Dual enrollment is a partnership with us and Chabot College where the classes are completely free. And in the summer, Chabot is offering dual enrollment academies. And in the fall, we will be offering 3 Chabot College classes just for Castro Valley students. And I'll be able to share those links with you if you are interested, but they are on our website. So if you have questions, you can stick around to ask them. You can come back later. This main Zoom will remain open. You can also submit them to this form that I will paste in the chat. And so also there's a feedback form that we would love for you to fill out at the end of the event, and we will post that as well. It is also on the guide that was sent out to everybody. So what happens next is we're going to send you to different Zoom rooms. So you're going to pick where you want to go from the guide. So for the first session, which is we're running a little late, so hopefully they haven't started yet. You're going to go into that guide that was emailed and click on the link. The Spanish interpreters are going to the Cal State University session, and the Chinese interpreters are going to the UC session. And then during session 2 at 7:05, you'll move on to another session. You'll get to pick another topic. And again, you'll pick and just click the link and it will take you to that Zoom. And if you're not sure, you can always come back to this main room and we can help guide you. And session 3, again, 4 different options for you so that you can, you know, check them out. And again, these, we are asking our presenters to record them. So if you can't choose, don't worry, you can watch the recording from the one that you don't go to. So with that, if you want to stay and ask questions, you can, but otherwise we would love for you to go to the sessions. They are posted in the guide that I just linked. So that you can have all the links, and feel free to stay here in the main room if you need to be redirected. So we can give you a specific Zoom if you're looking for it. And I am going to stop recording. And yes, we will post this presentation with all the links. It's actually posted already on our website.